What's up, guys? So I got my weekly training footage for you. Some good and somewhat bad from this week, kind of like how most weeks end up being. But starting off here, again, really similar to last week. This is my 4 to 6 day for squats, and again I PR'd 5 pounds. So this was, I believe, a 340 for 5, and I think I hit it for like 4 or 5 afterwards. But I've really been for a few of my sets trying to get one at least top set in where I'm hitting 5 pounds with the same reps that I was the previous week. So I was really hyped about that. Good start to my week, really. And I think this was another set here. So again, really keeping it simple with squats. The frequency is still high. Wasn't too much really to complain about this day. Everything felt great. My knees feeling better. Kind of sounded redundant from week to week just with how easily I've been making progress on the squats. But I do plan to max out. That was definitely a grinder rep there. So I do plan to max out next week, and I'll talk more about that later. So I did get some assistance work. This was, I believe this was 275 or 285. I know I worked up to a 285 hip thrust, but I'm really liking the hip thrust. They're one of my favorite assistance exercises. I definitely think having something like a hip thrust or a glute ham raise or something like that where the tension is most at the top as opposed to a squat or a deadlift where the tension is obviously the greatest at the bottom. It's definitely a great assistance work to a squat and a deadlift. So I've talked about hip thrust over and over again. And this was something new I tried just for some single leg work. I think I did like 2 or 3 sets here. I'm actually a really big fan of Bulgarian split squats, and I saw a video of Eric Cressy doing these. So it's pretty much the same thing, but you see I have my top foot on like an aerobic step. So I'm coming from a deficit, so you get even a greater range of motion. And the pump I had in my quads from this was insane. So this might be something I implement from time to time. Again, I don't get too far away from the big lifts, but I do like to do some pump work and stuff like that. I'd rather do it with like single leg stuff and lunges and like machines. So definitely a good exercise if you guys want to try it out. The deficit split squat, I think it's called. And then this was Wednesday. So again, I've been having, I don't want to say issues with my front squat, but just issues with my mobility. So I tried a few different things out on this day that I think helped me quite a bit. So what I was planning on doing was just working my way up to triples, and I was just going to keep hitting triples so I felt uncomfortable. So that 225 felt really good as far as being able to keep my position. And this was 250, which also felt pretty good. So I think I hit this for a double or a triple. I felt like I had a lot more in me, so I wanted to kind of go for a PR. So I pulled back on that set a little bit. And this was 275 for a double. This felt pretty good, especially that first rep. My elbows do start dipping, but like I said, that's just kind of something I have to work through right now. And I think with my next wave, I'm going to end up doing a little bit higher reps for front squat. But I'm really happy with the 275 for a double. That's a huge PR for me. And then here was something else I tried. I think I did 2 or 3 back off sets that were relatively heavy. And then this was my final thing that I did. These were just pause front squats. So again, this helps me quite a bit because I'm really used to back squat, and that's kind of like sitting back as opposed to getting more like plantar flexion, ankle flexion. So that's what it takes to really be a good front squatter. So getting out of the hole, I kind of have to be comfortable with that. So doing a pause front squat like this, I think again, it's light, it's 135, but I said instead of 10 or something, might be something I can incorporate. It's just, again, some good hypertrophy work that I ended up doing for the week. And then this was a big PR for me as well. So I pulled after this, and this is 365 for a double, I believe, and I'm not even really sure why I didn't pull. That flew up. I'm not really sure why I didn't pull it for a triple. I definitely think I had it in me, but I just didn't for some reason. But 365, I never actually pulled that conventional before, so that's a big PR for me. And I think my conventional is almost exactly where my sumo strength was only a few weeks ago, so it's been a little bit quicker, the transition, than I anticipated. And this was some pretty heavy back off work, just some more triples I got from a few different angles. I actually had my friend Courtney, who's another power lifter, one of the very few we have in my area, kind of look at my form and whatnot, and he thought it was pretty good. He taught me I had some rounding and stuff in my upper back, and I kind of knew that, but kind of a big cue that I got from watching a Jesse Norris video, if you guys are familiar with him, is that my chest needs to be higher. So I'm kind of like compromising my position and then having to regain a good position. So definitely this upcoming week, I'm going to reevaluate my deadlift form. Not really my form, but just kind of my setup, and I think it will help quite a bit actually. And this is my lone bench footage from the week, I think. So this was my hypertrophy kind of bench press day where I'm doing 6 to 8 reps, and this was 225 for 6. I think this is the only set I did at 225. I just wanted to see if I could hit one in that range. And I didn't lift with a spotter because most people at my gym grab the bar when I have like 3 left in the tank. So bench press is kind of annoying sometimes if I don't have a spotter that I trust. But again, it progressed really well this week. And this was the funny, awkward lesson of the week for me. So this was Friday. I really wanted a 365 for a triple on this day so bad that I knew I was going to go for it almost the day before, like 24 hours before. I knew I was going to put it on the bar and just kind of see what happens. Definitely something that I would say I need to learn this, because like 99% of the time I don't do this. But I have been progressing really quickly, and I was just kind of like in this really egotistic mood that like there's no weight I can put on here that I'm not going to hit. So this was 365 for a double. I do think they're a little shallow, and this 360, I didn't even deserve to hit this for a triple. Like, again, if I was being honest with myself, I really wouldn't even put it on the bar because I wasn't feeling great that day. I wasn't feeling as great as I was on Monday or the previous Friday. So again, that's why I train with that buffer rep range. So if I don't feel 100%, I can just do lighter reps. So I backed off the weight. I think this was 340 here. I know it's at like 350 or something like that afterwards. But again, no big deal that I missed a rep. I do anticipate maxing out next week. So be on the lookout for that. I have no idea what I'm going to hit. I'm just going to work up to heavy singles 2 times next week. So this was deadlifts. Again, mentally after those squats, I was just kind of pissed off and wanted to just pull a PR. So I believe this was my 370. And that felt pretty good. Again, I wasn't trying to pull a heavy triple or a double or anything. I just wanted to set a PR that day from kind of how squats put me in that mood. So again, just some more back off work. And this back off work felt pretty heavy. And again, looking at these, like I talked about earlier on the week, I do need to think about pulling my chest up a little bit more. So again, it's hard to explain exactly what that means, but again, it means starting in a better position at the beginning of the lift. So you see here, perfect example, I'm totally compromised there. I'm totally horizontal, and then I pull myself in a better position. I think if I start in a better position and never really let my chest drop, it'll help me quite a bit when I pull. So I'm not going to max out on deadlifts next week, just squats. But I will try to pull like a heavy single or a heavy triple. Maybe it's like that 350 to 380-ish range, and see what happens with my new kind of setup. And this was the end of the week, so this was my heavy bench day. Things weren't ideal here just because I, again, didn't have a spotter. So I just went in the low end of my range and hit 240 for some doubles. I ended up grabbing a friend. It was kind of funny. She weighs like 100 pounds, but I just ended up grabbing a friend. It was just like, if anything happens, just like tip the bar. So again, I was just gonna hit some doubles here. I knew I probably could have had another rep, maybe 5 pounds, but not a big deal. It's in my weight range, which is kind of the point of this whole thing that I'm doing. So I hit 3 or 4 sets there, and then I figured I would just do some more work here. So these are just like pause reps, where I haven't done in a long time. So this was 205. I think I hit it for like 4 or 5 here. And yeah, that was my week, guys. So again, I do anticipating maxing out on squat next week. Everything else, the volume is going to drop quite a bit. And then my next, then I'll start a new kind of wave. So next week will be 4 weeks. So I'll max out on squats, and be on the lookout for that, guys. Thank you guys for watching.